Welcome back to Don's Life and another episode of Rental Reviews. In this episode, I'm going to look at the 2020 Buick Envision. I've rented it for a 5-day stretch. I have quite a few miles or kilometers I need to put on it. This is available in 6 colors, 3 interior colors. There are 3 trim levels with the Buick Envision. There's the 1SV, which is the basic. There's the Preferred, which comes in all-wheel drive, and then there's the highest trim level, which is the Essence, also has all-wheel drive. This one here is the Preferred. Has a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, which has 197 horsepower. In the higher trim, you can get the available 2-liter turbo with 252 horsepower. As you can see, there's all the typical Buick styling. This has LED taillights. It's a pretty nice looking compact SUV, but it does blend in with some of the others that are on the road, especially if you have a pretty common color like white. Okay, inside here, we've got our tie-down mounts. We have a fuse panel back here. These will look like door handles. Actually fold these seats down. Gotta give them a little push, it looks like. That one went down further. Just a vent. Got a 12-volt accessory there. A couple more tie-downs. And then the floor, we got this panel. Lift that out of the way. And then this is a light styrofoam storage tray, and then your spare tires there, and your jack. Push this button here to close it. Got our backup camera there. Fuel door. Let's hop in the back, see what kind of room we have. Now remember, I'm about 6 feet tall. We have our pockets in the back of the seat. We have climate control and heated seats for the rear passengers. 2 USB ports, as well as a 12-volt accessory. Right here I have the armrest already folded down, and I bought a couple apple ciders while I was at IKEA, which I stored a bunch of it there. You can see on the door trim we have this plastic wood grain looking thing. Some, I don't know if that's real leather or not, but just a little bit of plush instead of the hard plastic. And yeah, that's the back seat. On the passenger side we have our adjustable seats with lumbar support. In the door we have our unlock buttons, our window controls, and we have a couple little cubbies here. Inside we have our glove box, insurance papers, manual, nothing special. Behind here you have a fuse panel. Up here we have the vanity mirror with courtesy lights. Same adjustments for the power seat on the driver's side. On the door we do have, this is normally up in the console, but in this case you can adjust the back hatch to open maximum, 3/4, or off with the push of the button or what the remote would do. So we'll leave it on max. We have our window controls and our door lock and unlock, and then these are the presets you can have for primary and secondary for the seat positions, as well as if you push this button here, it will put the seat back as far as it can go so you can get out easier. Okay, let's start it up. Push button start. This is just my phone mount there, ignore it. Okay, here's our steering wheel. We have all the typical controls. This one does have heated steering. That's a nice feature if you're not used to it. We have our cruise control settings here. We have our voice recognition for some of the voice recognition commands that exist. On this side you have your media controls, so your volume and your change tracks. But you also have this control here, which is for your gauges. So I'll just zoom into that. And as you can see, as I toggle through the settings with my finger here, I can make all kinds of adjustments. So I go in the audio, you can see I've got control of my audio there, my phone settings. I can go to my options here and pick if I want, you know, metric or US or imperial, if you will. Pretty straightforward. I think most people are used to what to expect here. And depending on what I'm doing, oops, back. Here's some more details for you. Pretty basic. Throughout the cabin, you do have things that appear to be premium surfaces, but this is plastic. This is not real leather, although it looks like it's stitched, and at a glance you might be fooled. The steering wheel, however, may be synthetic or genuine leather. It feels softer. Same with the shift boot here, but again, this stuff doesn't feel real. It's plasticky, but it does have some give to it to give it that leather feeling and look. And then we have this wood grain look here, not necessarily for everybody, but the gloss kind of adds a nice contrast to the rest of the vehicle. But for a compact SUV, it doesn't look too bad. It's a nice place to sit in. Okay, let's have a closer look at the infotainment system. Very straightforward, easy to lay out icons, very responsive, just like you'd expect from a newer tablet, which is nice. Shortcut controls here. I like that it has a volume knob versus some kind of touch slider or you know, a button with very little haptic response. So push this for the menu and you can make some of your adjustments, so depending on what you're in. So we're in the radio right now, so we can make all our audio adjustments. If I was back on the home screen, the menu button doesn't do anything. But if I was in settings and I hit menu, it toggles through to the next page. So basically it becomes your selector at this point. Let's have a closer look at the climate controls. These are those touch sensitive buttons I was talking about, which it's nice not to have for volume, but for temperature control, because you're not changing it all the time, that's okay. Push the heated seat icon and you can adjust it at 3 different stages. Sometimes though you push it, nothing happens, see, like I did there. So it's not perfect, but it does work. Yeah, the passenger there, you can sync them, or the passenger can be independent. And then you have your standard climate controls there. Here's where you turn off your traction control. It looks like on higher trim levels there would be extra options in these buttons here. This is a little more basic since it's a rental car. 2 standard cup holders, it's a water bottle fine. Electronic parking brake. It's your shift selector here. And here's a little cubby hole, and you have your 12-volt adapter in there, and just a little storage pocket. And then here you have a very interesting console. You push this button and voila, they both open at the same time. You have to close them individually. You could leave one open, I guess, if you had to put maybe a book or a binder to stick out of there, so you could still use the armrest on one side. I think that would be more of its practicality. In here you have USB ports. It will connect your Apple CarPlay. I'm not sure if this one has Android or not, but it does have Apple CarPlay. And then we do have a cigarette lighter adapter down below, as well as an auxiliary port here for maybe an older device that you want to use an auxiliary out for audio only. Let's do a road noise test at 120 kilometers an hour. Pretty quiet. It's a little above average for a vehicle this size. It's pretty good. I just finished a Bluetooth phone call and didn't have to crank up the volume. It's not as good as some of the larger SUVs I've driven, but not too bad. Okay, we're back at the rental facility here at the airport in Saskatoon, ready to drop off the vehicle. I just finished an 8-hour drive from Winnipeg to Saskatoon with a few stops is what we need to do. All in all, pretty comfortable. I found the seats were okay. They weren't great. They weren't, too uncomfortable or stiff. They're just plush enough, but it was a longer drive to be fair. The only thing that, wasn't fantastic was the suspension. I feel could have been a little more cushy or have more cushion, if you will. I've driven these roads before and I feel, and maybe this is because of the short wheelbase, but I feel because it is a smaller SUV, it's kind of par for the course. All in all though, if I had to rent it again for a several day stretch like I did for 5 days, I would do it if it was one that I could pick from amongst others around the same size. If I could go for a larger SUV, I would probably go that route. Anyway, I hope you liked today's video. Hit that like button if you did. Please consider subscribing, and we'll talk to you next time.